All right. So I'm curious your thoughts on this. I know Bubba Cunningham was on the Inside Carolina podcast, and Victoria, can we get the clip where he's talking about how the AD job has changed? And I want Chip to hear it, and I want to talk about how being an athletic director today is so drastically different, really, than it was, even 5 years ago.
It's changed a great deal. Again, and one of the reasons, and I've said it in here before with you guys, is Carolina is a truly, truly special place. And they have professionals that have been here for a long time and do exceptional jobs at what they do, which allows the AD to do things on a national basis. For me to be able to be on the Olympic Committee or the basketball committee or work with the NCAA about a new governance structure, we can do that because the staff is so good. So Steve will be able to come in and be able to kind of do the same thing. Rely on the staff, augment the staff with what he thinks is going to be needed for the future. But it's changed dramatically. When I first got here, it was really about, hosting games, making sure the coaches are taken care of, and continuing the success that we've had. But it's gotten much more commercial. The budgets have gone. I don't even know what the budget was when I got it. I think it was about $70 million. Next
65
year,
of that was Jones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. Next year it's going to be $180 million. And we have almost 300 full-time employees. And now we've got, a couple hundred kids that we're going to pay in addition to what we've done. So it is vastly different. So I think I've grown and developed and modernized over time. But I also think there's a whole different future out there that's going to take a different skill set that we want to build as we're making these changes right now. And I think Steve is a very good first step in that new direction.
First of all, I agree. Bubba Cunningham has modernized over time. I remember conversations that I had with him about the state of college athletics and the future as I saw it, and I was a lot closer to being right about what was going to be than he was. He didn't want it initially, but he has evolved over time. All right, your thoughts on what Bubba Cunningham had to say, and thanks to Inside Carolina and their podcast for providing that audio.
Yeah, there's some pendulum swings to this. There was a while ago where Michigan hired a man named Dave Brandon to be the athletic director.
Right.
And
he was like the Domino's pizza guy, right?
The Domino's pizza guy, yeah. And that was viewed as the athletic director is changing. We're all going to have these big business athletic directors. And there were some other schools that decided to follow suit, but those individuals had a hard time being able to communicate with the university, with the administration, with university presidents. Right. These business leaders weren't really sure how to navigate in these environments. So then things swung back the other way. And we started to have more people who had come up within athletics and then promoted to these opportunities. We've got like the Jay Batt, right? Former North Carolina athlete who was at Alabama, right, and then he was at Georgia Tech, and now he gets the job at Michigan State. That is more of your traditional, former athlete, came up in athletic departments, promoted to athletic director. I don't drink the white wine and hang out around the hotel lobbies to be able to tell you the hot stove on the admin trail. That there is a beat for that. I have friends, I have colleagues that are very plugged in on who's the next rising star at the athletic director level. I don't have that. But then we had a little bit of a pendulum swing back, and it happened at Notre Dame, a place where Bubba Cunningham has his own experience and his own connections. Yes. And it was when Notre Dame went to the television world to find its new athletic director. Jack Swarbrick had been there forever, right, and now Pete Pavakwa is from NBC Sports, like from the television world, and now crafting these big-time, big-brand athletic departments is a little bit less of an administrative role, and it is a little bit more of a business role. So for the hire, I think it makes sense in the Notre Dame line. For the way that we are doing the AD in waiting was also the same way that Notre Dame handled that situation. And then for Bubba Cunningham, I mean, he had a little bit of a fork in the road. I don't know how much interest our friend Lawrence had in the Michigan State job. I know that of the white wine insiders, his name was on a list of candidates for the Michigan State job.
Wishful thinking.
I don't know what. Well, I mean, you've got the university president connection as well, right there.
Right.
I don't know how much motivation there was to be a part of a couple of huge things that are on the horizon for North Carolina. Because let's say you and I are just sitting around, we're enjoying a couple beverages. You say, Chip, would you want to be the athletic director when the University of North Carolina has to decide about building a new basketball dome? Hell no! I don't want to have any part of having to do the generational fight between all of the North Carolina alumni, fans, donors, and likewise. Like, that is going to be the messiest, most impactful decision when you are deciding, are we going to uproot all the blue hairs? Or like all the people that helped be able to fund this building where all the success and these incredible moments have been? There are some big, not to mention how things go with Bill Belichick, what ends up happening into the future. You've made this huge bet on football. What if it turns it sour? Do you keep investing in football at an unprecedented level? I mean, the next 5 to 10 years of North Carolina athletics have some very, very tough decisions. Again, I cannot speak to Bubba Cunningham's thoughts on all that. My personal opinion would be that if you've had a long and strong and impressive career in college athletics, and you've served on all the committees, and you've got an off-ramp where you can go serve on committees and be a consultant and not have your name associated with a blood feud within the North Carolina family, then I understand why timing might be a part of this as well.
First of all, I'm a huge person. I've always been a huge personal fan of Bubba Cunningham. And while he and I have disagreed on certain, elements of the inner workings of intercollegiate athletics, and I'm not talking about how it works. I'm just talking about the finances and who should get it.
And the general principles of amateurism.
Exactly. That's a much better way of putting it. That's why
the general principles of amateurism in high-level college athletics.
Yeah, but he has certainly come around, reluctantly or otherwise. He has come around to the reality of the situation.
Sure.
You either did that or you were getting out of the industry, which is whatever. If you would have done that, that would have been fine too. But I do think, because you mentioned the white wine and the hot stove of the inner workings of who's the rising stars, my understanding is that there were many people in the we'll just call it the booster community that wanted to move on from Bubba Cunningham. It could not have been fun for him. I don't want to have that conversation. I just wanted to tack that on.
Hey, no, look, let's add that. It starts last May when he goes to the ACC spring meetings and the board tries to make him look bad behind his back.
Well, they did it out in the open the year before.
I said last May, like not a couple months ago.
My fault. Yes. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, May 24. You could probably trace that back and say, not to mention the power plays within the coaching search to hire Bill Belichick. I mean, there's been a lot there that if you have had a great, strong, impressive, storied career and you've served on all the committees and your record's pretty good, if you're into those things, then you've got a good little moment to preserve it.
I think he deserves to be treated better. But since you brought it up as a hypothetical, I want to just spend, 2-3 minutes. If you were in position to have influence on the next basketball arena, or how Carolina moves the basketball arena into the future, whether it's keeping it right where it is and doing the best to improve the D. Neath Smith Center, what would you do?
I would keep it, if not right where it is, as close to the footprint as possible. I know it's on the south end of campus, right, but you can still walk there. It's a long walk, but you can still, it's downhill there and uphill the way back, but it is to move it. I've seen some suggestions that would be definitively off campus.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking from my own experience here, but there was something to be said as you started that walk and as the crowds around the walk get bigger. And then as you get that last stoplight to get over the hill and start to go down, and the crowds get bigger, I just think there's something to truly on campus for that. The Chapel Hill is small. We're not talking about a bustling metropolis.
Right.
Like we're talking about a place where the community is used to doing a lot of walking around. I would, if it is not possible and the engineers say renovating it, the D.N.E. Smith Center is not the play, I would look for whatever I can that would at least keep it on campus. I think that is important, and I think that is special to the Carolina basketball sort of history and vibe.
Here's my question, because I know there's a faction who want to move it off campus and get this bigger, glitzier arena.
And to be able to do the same things that they're talking about with the Lenovo Center.
Right.
It's like, and we'll build restaurants around it, and we'll put a concert venue around it, and sort of the full checklist of we're going to build a village around this whole thing, and everyone will make money, and it'll be great.
It takes a village. So sure. my question is, why can it work for Duke that they're still playing in a small arena that seats just over 9,300 people? Why can it work for Duke, but it can't work for Carolina?
I think that those should never be compared.
Okay.
I don't think they should be compared when we're talking about the raw numbers.
Well, Carolina needs more seats. There's no doubt. Duke could never fill. I mean, they probably could fill like a 14,000 seat arena, maybe the size of the old Reynolds Coliseum, but they couldn't fill a 21,000 seat arena here.
No, and it's just more. You want to be able. You would like to not make Duke is exclusive. Duke is exclusive. Duke is a private school. Duke is a small private school.
But my point is that they've been able to generate enough revenue out of and make that a home. Why couldn't Carolina do a similar thing with a Hall of Fame and just build out? Why do they need? Duke doesn't have luxury suites. They would sell them. Duke would sell luxury suites. That wouldn't be an issue. Duke could have 25 luxury suites. They'd sell them because there's enough people like that with money who would buy luxury. Not even 25, but 10. They would sell luxury suites. Why couldn't Carolina create like a I know there's a Hall of Fame, but why can't they create some kind of an environment where they wouldn't have to leave the Smith Center?
The problem is all that has been built around the Smith Center. The basketball museum right now is right beside the Smith Center. The practice facility obviously needs a lot of work. That's one of the things that they're targeting, but that's connected on the back end of the Smith Center. I mean, you would have to build everything all over again, I think.
And there's no way. There's probably no way to renovate the Smith Center to generate more revenue out of it. And that's really what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, I'm not privy to those conversations. I know they're down to like 5 or 6 different options. My ultimate opinion is that whatever it looks like, whether there are you don't need. I don't think that you need luxury suites. I think that the sell is the banners and the jerseys and the logo on the floor and the people that are in there, and those are what you would be selling. I mean, this is the place where what do you still imagine of when you think about the D.N.E. Smith Center? Like the same bucket of popcorn that they had in 1985. A bucket of popcorn and a big old Carolina blue cup full of Coca-Cola. It is in many ways the quaintness is charming until you get in line for the bathroom or try to walk the concourse.
Yeah, this is
like the updates that need to happen are very much like we don't need to spruce it up. We don't need to make it magical. We just need to functionally change the way that human beings are able to move around that arena, because the things that make it special are not going to be a laser light show. The things that make it special aren't going to be taking everything to the 22nd century. I mean, the basketball should speak for itself on that front.
Right.
I just understand from being in that concourse, when you're trying to go to the bathroom at halftime, to just know that there's a lot of better ways to do that.
Would you move the Blue Hairs out? I would in a minute. Sorry about for anybody that's had season tickets, around the court forever. I would have no problem at all especially at North Carolina, knowing that I could flip that out, unless you are a serious donor, in which case I'm not going to bite the hand that feeds me.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it?
Sorry.
Don't all of those people, aren't they going to make it seem like you're biting the hand that feeds?
Probably. It all depends on how much you're feeding me and what you're feeding me.
Right.
I mean, if you're feeding me serious cash, then I'm probably going to let you sit where you want. Right. But that's going to happen anyway.
Yeah, I think that that they've already kicked all the media all the way upstairs.
Which I told Dick Bedore 20 years ago. I mean, there's no joke. I don't know if we have a record of it or not. I told Bedore a long time ago when he was the AD, I'm like, yeah, move the media out. Why? I mean, we'll be able to see the game. I mean, I didn't want us upstairs, but when they put us essentially near the band, I didn't hate it. I didn't.
I would, I would try to figure out a way. I would try to figure out a way to fill up some of those lower levels opposite the benches,
right?
With a little bit more violence when it comes to fandom.
No,
it doesn't need to be students, because it seems like students these days aren't violent enough. We need a little bit more I need to know that it's going to be it's going to be real bloodthirstiness.
What if they promised not to bathe the day before the game? I don't know. I've sat on press row at Cameron Indoor Stadium, and it gets pretty rank.
Then you'd be in Shashevskyville.
Yeah, it gets pretty rank. So,
yeah.
All right, let me get to a couple of other things with Chip Patterson, who's joining us here as of Wednesday. By the way, Mike Krzyzewski was on the program earlier, so that was fun. I am curious, where are we today with the Big Ten SEC debate over how this playoff is going to look?
Adam, I'm in a blender. I have gone full circle. I am all the way around. I don't think that they have any urgency at all. And when I say I'm in a blender, it's because I've thought about this deeply. I've thought about this critically, and I've come out on the other side. What I mean by that is at this point, if I get a chance to talk to these people about the college football playoff, I'm like, so tell me now, where do you have the fancier lunch? Is it at the Biltmore Village, or is it in Grapevine, Texas? Is it in Amelia Island? Is it going to be in Destin? Like oh God, this makes me so frustrated. So Executive Director Rich Clark came out after the last meetings, the ones that were in Asheville, and he said, well, remember our deadline is December 1st.
Right.
What? What have we been doing at all of these meetings? And we just advance it. We get close, and then it gets kicked back. We might have a college football playoff approval. Now we are 100% back to square one, which includes, based on my understanding, we might not change anything. We might just do the same 12-team format that we'll have for 2025. I mean, we don't want to do a short-term deal, but it's only a 6-year contract. Why not? Unbelievable. Like, that's why I say I'm in a blender, because I spent 3 months kind of really dialing in, thinking about this, talking to people, trying to figure out all the different stakeholders, the pros, the cons, the ways that this would impact everyone involved. And just to see how flippantly we have gone back to square one, I refuse to give them more than the bare necessary brain power until they come at us with something that's a little bit more concrete.
Yeah, I get, me, because I was not in favor of going to 12. I still think the best playoff format we had, which did the best job of just giving us the national champion, was 4, because it incorporates, we make all of the regular season matter. We don't even put into play the potential of a 3-loss team somehow playing for a national championship, and I get it. I was on an island there, but I'm happy to be on that island. But I'm also a realist. I knew we were going to go to 12, but I always thought we're going to end up at 16 anyway, and we'll probably end up beyond that down the road when college football separates from everything else. What do you think the SEC really wants to do with the playoff in terms of guaranteed spots? We're going to be at 16. So what do you think the SEC really wants to do?
They don't have a unified stance. That was the other thing that's got me in a blender, because your university
this sounds very political to me.
Your university presidents and your conference commissioners, they come out and they're like, all right, so we've got this format and we're going to like set this up and this is what we're going to push for. And then they presented it to their coaches and their coaches were like, that's crazy. That's too complicated. Don't do that. And then the SEC president's like, okay, we won't do that then. And the Big Ten was like, what? SEC. I thought we were going with this.
Right.
I thought we were ready to strong arm everybody else into this format. I thought that we had set ourselves up for certainty in terms of automatic bids and money and everything that goes with it. And the SEC's like, I don't know. Kirby didn't like it. And Kirby's like, yeah, I don't like that at all. And they're like, yeah, sorry, Kirby doesn't like it. What Kirby says goes. I mean, even within the Southeastern Conference, there's no unified stake. And this is where I am truthfully, like no jokes at this point. I do not think 5+11 will lead to an equitable playoff. I do not think that 5+11 will lead to a playoff bracket that is representative of the entire landscape of college football. But man, 5+11 is easy to explain.
Wait, hold on one second. I'm curious. What do you mean by equitable? Wait, that 5+11, 5 automatic qualifying, the 4 power leagues, plus the next best conference champion, plus 11 at large. Why, when you say you don't think it will lead to an equitable playoff, what does that mean?
It will not lead to a set of playoff competitors that represents the investment in the sport of college football that's happening at a national level.
All right, so
it will be a regional invitational.
My response to that is, I don't care. I understand. I understand the interested parties, the conference commissioners, they care. But to me, the only thing this playoff is supposed to do, should be doing, is providing us with, after the 5 automatic qualifying teams, the next 11 best teams. Flat out, and I don't care if they all come from the same state. I don't care if the state of Texas produces the other 11 teams. It's a national championship tournament. What are they really selling?
It's an invitational.
I get it. So
it's a television show.
Right.
It's kind of bad business if you isolate the rest of the country.
It's terrible. Which leads me back to my point that you've heard me make this a lot of I don't know how many times. I don't believe the people who control football give a damn about football. I really don't.
I mean, I guess you could say that you saw that with the SEC university presidents who had one idea and then their coaches who give many damns about football.
Right.
Saying, no.
What happened to merit? I'm all about merit. I'm 100% about merit. Which is why, ultimately, I get back to the look, I was pro BCS when we had 2 teams. My only problem with the BCS was we cannot handle 3 major conference unbeatens. Just can't do it. The last time that happened, when we had just 2 teams, the SEC got left out. That's hysterical, by the way. Sorry to Tommy Tuberville and Auburn University. You had to watch... what was it? Southern Cal absolutely curb stomp Oklahoma, correct?
There was a hilarious line that, here, let me see if I can get this. So the question is, of course, we all know that it just means more, right?
It does, of course.
It just means more. So from 1980 to 2003, when the SEC only won 4 national championships in 24 years, did it just mean less?
Yes.
It just didn't mean as much more? It meant less? Is that what it is? Is that how it works? From 1980 to 2003, the SEC won just 4 national titles. But then, of course, 06, 07, 08, 09, 2010, 2011, 2012. Jameis breaks it in 2013. Ohio State in 14, then Alabama 15. Clemson Then, hey, Clemson, there we go. Back to Alabama in 17. Clemson again. LSU 19. Back to Alabama in 20. Then 21 Georgia, 22 Georgia, 23. Then Big Ten back in control. 23 Michigan, 24 Ohio State.
Ohio State's in there a bunch. Clemson was in there twice, and that's good for us. So we're going to tease next week. Chances of me remembering this probably non-existent. You'll have to remind me if we are in fact going to do this. We'll, a couple of months out from the season, kind of look ahead to the start of the season, and who we expect a lot of, and maybe don't expect a lot from. Chip Patterson, are you around next week? We'll just have this meeting right now on the radio.
Well, the thing is, it's kind of the start of my season. Because what happens is everyone gets back from the 4th of July holiday.
Right.
And they're like, all right, football.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Let's go. Right. Football time. Let's rock and roll.
Yeah, we'll talk football next week then.
I'll be ready to go.
All right, man. Thank you very much.
Sounds good. Y'all be well.
The best.